Hey yo, my Planet Coaster friends, Johnny5 Alive here, and welcome back to another video. We're going to be doing a Dueling Coaster Contest Q&A. For those of you who do not remember, 2 months ago, we announced a Dueling Coaster Contest on the channel, going over all of the rules. Well, the end date for the contest was March 31st. That means all of the submissions are now in. So I decided it'd be a good idea to give everybody a reminder, a refresher on the contest rules, as well as do a little bit of Q&A with the Discord community. So this video is going to go over everything, giving you guys a rough idea of what to expect over the coming weeks in going into this contest marathon. For those of you who don't remember, this is the contest rules. Channel 5 Gaming Dueling Coaster Contest. Channel 5 Gaming's first Dueling Coaster Contest ever. Dueling coasters are interacting, battling between 2, 3, or 4 of your favorite coasters or themes from movies, games, etc. Think of examples like Mario vs. Bowser, Batman vs. Joker, you know, all that good stuff. All coasters will be voted on by the public to determine the winners. No judges this time. So you viewers, everybody here, will get to participate in deciding who wins. So I'll just scan through the rules here. You can pause the video if you want to have a read for yourself, just to give yourself a refresher. But the TLDR is essentially, this is something versus something contest. The spirit of the contest is to have dueling coasters interacting and battling, not racing coasters, not mirrored coasters, but two unique coasters that both do their own thing and both have their own unique theming that are versus and going head to head. Boom. With that being said, the contest originated from Chant, one of our Discord moderators, Missy Goods. She had the idea of heroes versus villains, and as you can see from the thumbnail of the contest, we kind of have two heroes on there. Generally, with all these contests, I put constraints on people, but then we started questioning what happens if you want to do 3 coasters, 4 coasters, yada, yada, yada. Then suddenly, if you do like Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles, they're not exactly versus, but they're co-op. So we started opening it up to more and more options. Now it just has to be something versus something. So we kind of strayed away from the origins of the contest, and it became some more of like an open-ended creative thing, which created some amazing results. And as of right now, I've recorded about 13 of the coasters, and I gotta say it definitely made for some really awesome coasters and content. With that said, I still feel like there wasn't any heroes or villains or like Joker versus Batman style coasters in this contest. So depending on how the contest is perceived and how much people like the dueling aspects, I may revisit the Dueling Coaster Contest 2 somewhere in the future, maybe 6 months to a year from now. And I'm hoping to bring back the contest with a strict rules of 2 coasters only. One has to be a hero and one has to be the arch nemesis villain. And I think that might be something fun to look at for the future. Same contest idea, but 2 specific characters forced. But with that said, this contest turned out really good, and I'm happy I opened up the rules to, you know, triple, quadruple, and you know, very elaborate themes, and people got really creative with this. So before we jump into the Q&A, I want to bring up a chart here. This chart was created by Zayfor. He organized all of the submissions. Thank you so much, Zayfor, for your help on this. Here you can see how many submissions were in each bracket. 14 beginners, 25 builders, 17 advanced, 8 experts, 6 masters, and 7 legends, for a total of, I think, 80 submissions. Because there are so many submissions, I will be looking into doing double uploads, releasing at 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. until all the submissions are out. So the contest should technically last about 30 to 40 days, depending on the amount of submissions we actually do, because some of them do get disqualified or certain things happen, they didn't follow the rules. There might not exactly be 80 by the end of it. So that's a quick summary of what's happening in the contest, what's going on with the contest, my thoughts about the contest. I'm sure everybody has more questions. There's things that haven't been answered, but I'm gonna leave that up to the Q&A. So we got like 24 questions here that were asked by the Discord community. We're gonna go through them one by one, and hopefully that clears up any questions and confusion on how the contest is going to play out. All right, first up, Bugle says, will there be any brackets merged? What he means by this is, are we gonna take the Masters and Legends and put them them together. There's definitely enough people competing in all the brackets for a top 3, except for experts, masters, and legends. However, with the experts, I do not think it's fair to put them in with the masters and legends this time around, because there is definitely a big gap between what it takes to go from an expert to a master or even a legend. I do think it's a little bit more fair to mix the masters and legends together, creating a bracket of 13, but I don't think I'm going to do that. So I think I'm going to keep the brackets just the way they are, which does kind of mean masters, there's only 6 people and 3 people would possibly win. So half win and half lose. And I'm okay with that. It also incentivizes higher ranked people that do not compete. Maybe in the future they will decide to compete, knowing how small the brackets are and how high your chances of winning are. Next question, Bob Poe. When will they be uploaded? Well, they could possibly be up tonight. I have to fill them all out and set them for auto schedule. So I hope the first contest video will drop tomorrow. Boom. Next question. Squirt Juice 13 asks, will all of the entries be released in one video or multiple videos? So yeah, we are doing personal videos per submission, especially because they are such content heavy videos. Every coaster we're riding at least 2 times, and sometimes a third for cinematic, just to see the coasters dueling a little bit better. Some people have made 3 or 4 coasters. So every one of these individual videos is essentially like a bundle. There's a ton of content, and it would definitely be way too crazy to bundle them together. So individual videos. Smiling Gal asks, will voting be similar to the Exploration 2 contest, where after each bracket we get to vote? And how long will it stay open to vote? Very good question. So at the end of every single bracket, a voting form will pop up on both YouTube and Discord announcements. You guys get to vote. The voting form will stay open until the end of the contest. So technically the early brackets, such as beginners, they will stay open the longest. Whereas like the legend bracket, you'll only have about a week to vote on the legends before it all closes down and we announce the winners. If you miss a bracket, you can always come in at the end of the contest and vote on all of them all at once. There'll be, I guess, 6 voting forms by then. Say4 asks, what are the prizes for the winners and how many winners per bracket? Well, I could show you the prizes, although I have to update it. So here is my video game prize list. And you can see games ranging from $20 all the way up to $70. You can see who they are donated by. I add games to this every single month, and I have a backlog of Humble Bundle keys from literally the last, I'd say, half of a year. So I have to add in like another 100 games. For sure, at least 100. So there is 370 games to choose from in here, and I'm going to be adding 100 in very soon. So all of these games are up for grabs, and you get to pick one from the list, and then I will give you a game. Simple as that. And how many winners per bracket will there be? I'm pretty sold on a top 3 for each category. Even though the Masters only have 6 people and there's gonna be a top 3 of that, I am okay with that. I'm feeling generous this time around. So 6 brackets, 3 winners. That's gonna be 18 games we're giving out, or 18 winners overall. Madman asks, how reasonable do stats have to be to qualify? I'm worried a bit about the 8 Gs. Well, I don't think it's too much of a concern. As long as your creation is good, it doesn't have to be realistic. This is not a realism contest by any means, and I've already ridden a few coasters where people say, I'm not very good at coasters, but they designed some amazing coasters. It was just a little bit high on the G-forces. However, we did ask in the contest rules that the guests have to be riding your coaster. But Planet Coaster guests will pretty much ride almost anything unless it's absolutely horrific. So I've seen coasters exceed 8 Gs and the guests still ride it. The game doesn't, the game is very reasonable. So not much to worry about there, Madman. Capital Thrills asks, do guests have to be in the park? This is something we asked for, that you have to build a mini park and open it up and people should be roaming around and getting in queue. But I've seen people who haven't let the guests in, so I just go in test mode. I'm not going to open up the get park, but you should have had it ready in terms of presentation. It was in the rules, but it's not a make it or break it situation. Luke Wars asks, will there be any other prizes given besides a top 3, like a longest, fastest, etc.? I will most likely come up with something. However, we are giving out 18 games this time around, but I will probably pick a couple categories to give out some bonus games. Bucol asks, will there be prizes for most inversions, highest speeds, most unique, personal favorite? So it's pretty much the same question, but added in the personal favorite. I definitely do have my own personal favorites, and if they do not win in the top 3, I'll be giving those people prizes for making my day. Smiling Gal asks, when we sent can we send proof that our coasters are rideable? Because I took pics to cover my butt if you question our stats. This goes back to the other question I answered. The proof is really in our people in the queue. That's all the proof I need. Capital Thrills asks, oh, what do you look for in a creation that you think would separate it from the other creations in that bracket? Really good question. I've seen a handful throughout the beginner bracket. I have recorded the beginner bracket so far, and I can think of 4 off the top of my head that stood out as unique and somewhat dominating in their bracket because of certain reasons. Those reasons being, does it follow the spirit of the contest? Is it something versus something? And with that, are they themed to the Nimes? Are there lots of dueling interactions? And then there's also just like the creative aspect. How did you surprise me? How did you come up with something that I didn't even expect to see from this contest? How did you wow me? And when that happens, I definitely point these creations out as top contenders and praise them for what they have done. So there is a way to separate yourself from the rest, but that is up to you. There has been some people who come forward and have surprised me and they separate themselves from the rest, but I didn't expect it. I go into it saying, you know, as long as you follow the rules of the contest and followed the spirit of the contest and did that to an extreme level, you should be separated from the rest. But that's not always the case. Because if everybody did that, then everyone would stand out. So what did you do that was exceptional? And there are those people. Bugle asks, do you sleep enough and have enough rest instead of full-on recording? I pretty much record until I'm exhausted, then edit till I'm exhausted, and then I just hibernate. I wake up when I need to wake up. So there you go. But yes, I am rested. Oracle of Doom asks, why was the use of video game music pulled from being able to be used? It's a good question. And it wasn't technically pulled. So what he's asking is, video game music is generally okay for YouTube. For example, when you launch a video game, a Bethesda game or something, the Fallout music is usually generally created by Bethesda, or it's not like copyright claim because they want people to play their video games and make YouTube videos on it. So generally soundtracks like the Doom soundtrack or something that you play in a video game should generally not get you flagged if you're playing that game, because then nobody would play their games on YouTube. But with that said, a lot of video game music is still dangerous. For example, any Nintendo music will still get you flagged, pretty much. Nintendo just hates you using their stuff on YouTube. Then there's situations where video games bought the rights to put them in their video game, such as listening to the radio on Grand Theft Auto, or looking back at Fallout 2, A Kiss to Build a Dream On. That's not their original song. There are games that use these intro songs that they're buying the rights to use, and that may confuse people to go, oh, I guess it's okay to put this in, and it's not. So it's still a 50-50 gamble that I have to take, and I start getting flags on all my videos. So it's just risky. However, with that said, nobody was not allowed to use music on their coasters. This is your creation at the end of the day. So if you have a link on your Steam page saying, I put this song onto my coaster, download it here, nobody's stopping you from doing that. Whether I decide to download it or not is totally up to me. I can take that risk or not. However, you should be putting Planko music on your coaster that's suitable, so when I load it up, it still sounds good, but then I have the option to attach your custom soundtrack. But most of the cases, I'm not going to do that because I don't know if the song is safe or not. But for people who download your creation, it is your creation. You made it for the contest, but you also made it for the community. Put your song up for other people to use. There you go. Capital Turtles asks, do you think a speed coaster ratio affects how the coaster will overall perform depending on style? I definitely do. In a dueling aspect, if the coasters are going 90 miles per hour, they might only have like a quarter split second pass by interaction. And depending on the style of the coaster, it also may nauseate you. If you're going super fast, then it becomes more of like a racing coaster if you're competing. All the other elements are going to be so quick that you won't notice them. So they would have to be racing in order for it to be competitive in the dueling aspect. So I think a coaster that's going too fast might have some missed opportunities, but we'll have to wait and see. Bughole asks, how do you decide if someone deserves a promotion after the contest? Based on performance in the contest or based on the workshop after the contest? It's a very good question because it is based on a bit of both, but mainly it's based on your workshop. You're essentially just getting a free workshop review at the end of the contest, and we look if your overall workshop meets the requirements of ranking up. But we have to also consider if you have a very low amount of things on your workshop, say it's you only have one creation and it was this contest and you're a new builder, but you did it at legendary quality, I don't think we can just safely bump you up to the builder bracket because you're just gonna smash and you're way above your skill level. is what I'm trying to say. So there's some rare cases, say looking at JR Tinman in the past, he's got like 5 things on his workshop and I think we've given him legend. Everything he does is legendary and it's unfair to just move him up rank by rank because he's always going to be able to compete with the legends. So there are cases where we might have to leapfrog people based on their contest creation, but that's a very rare case. For the most part, we're basing it off your workshop. So everybody gets a free workshop review, essentially. Kitch asks, will moderators be voting and does their/your vote carry more weight or not? The voting form is public and anyone can access it and place a vote. That means myself and all the moderators are going to vote as if we are an outsider. We get 1 vote just like everybody else, but our vote does not have any more weight than anyone else's. So we are part of the general public in terms of voting, and hopefully that answers your question. Bugle asks, if you win a prize, how can it be claimed? I'm just thinking of questions other people might want to know. Perfect. All the prizes will be announced at the very end of the contest. So 18 winners plus bonus prizes. I'm gonna make a group or chat room for all of the people who won the contest. Everyone will be added to this group and it's a first come first serve basis. So whoever types in what the game they want, I will DM them the code, and it's that simple. C4 asks, what are the criteria the community should most take into consideration when they vote? Super good question, because you guys are voting at the end of the day, and it is up to you. If the criteria for you is like, I just thought that coaster was awesome, I'm voting for it, I can't stop you. But I would appreciate if everybody takes into consideration the spirit of the contest. Was there good dueling elements? Was there something versus something? And were those 2 things themed precisely and extravagantly towards what they were intended to be? Did I do Batman and theme it well after Batman? Did I choose Joker and theme it well after Joker? And are they having a competitive battle that's very creative in, say, a Gotham style setting? How well did you match your theme? How well did you explain your story? And I think you should put equal weight on the theming and equal weight on the dueling aspects. But if somebody says, I didn't care about the theming on this, I thought the dueling was amazing, I'm voting for it as my favorite, I cannot stop that. So I hope people take into consideration a nice balance and be the best critics they can possibly be. AKA Superman asks, speaking of which, how much weight do peripheral attractions get in voting and judging, such as stalls, shops, flat rides, etc., as part of the mini park experience described in the contest description? I guess it goes back to what I just mentioned about Zafor's comment. It's really up to the judges. If they don't feel like it has any weight, then that's up to them. But I do think the shops and all of that, the front entrance way to the rides, the things inviting you to the rides, is all part of the theming that's also on the rides. It's a whole package. So if the coaster's themed, but there's nothing out front, or vice versa, I think the theming should be knocked down. So when I think of judging these things, I'm looking for a nicely themed coaster, a nicely themed entranceway, good queues, and an amazing dueling coaster experience, the whole package. So if somebody has a perfectly decorated queue and entranceway, perfectly themed coaster, amazing dueling elements, and it's all done well to their theme, I think they should be the winner, opposed to somebody that forgot about everything but made the best dueling aspects in the entire contest. I think it should be judged as a package. Zacko Slacko asks, will you not review a creation if it is too long? Will you review all creations despite the level of detail placed into the creation, or spend more time with detailed builds? I definitely spend more time with builds that inspire me more. I've had a few in the builder bracket that just I thought were amazing, and I spent 20-30 minutes on them for the video, and I have some that are a little bit underwhelming. I give as much feedback as I can, and then I move on, and some of them have fallen under 10 minutes. However, I can't see a coaster being too long to not be featured. Smiling Gal asks, will you be commenting during the recording like a spotlight, or try not to comment like the Exploration Coaster Contest? Very good question. In the Exploration Coaster Contest, I took more of a back seat because I did not want to sway the opinions of the voters, the viewers. But at the end of the day, we all came to the conclusion that no matter what my opinion is, it's not gonna, whether it changes people's minds or not, shouldn't really matter. And I think the creators and the viewers were missing out on my thoughts thoughts, my opinions, my feedback, and it just wasn't the same, didn't have the same magic as a regular spotlight. So this time around, I am being very vocal about feedback. I'm giving feedback, what you could have done better and how much I liked it. Whether or not that sways the votes and sways people's opinions is completely fine with me at this point. So great question. Bugle asks, will you be the only one recording, or will there be other moderators record contest videos too, or will you be joined by various moderators over time? It is tricky because everybody is on at different times, and this contest was something that I created, or, you know, I came up with all the rules, and I have like a certain mindset going into it. I know what I'm looking for. I know what I want to say. I know what I can compare it to. I have the entire catalog of what I've seen so far in my brain. So going into the next creation, I can make callbacks. I can make comparisons. I can say it was like this or that, or I slowly build up an archive of things to say and things I want to point out. And I feel like I get better at it with every episode. Whereas guests coming in, they're completely unaware of anything that's been going on, if that makes sense. But it still is good to have an outsider with a fresh eyes and different opinions to jump in, and it adds a little bit of element of fun as well, just having another dynamic or someone to bounce off of. However, these are sort of rapid fire videos, and I generally bring guests on for the longer videos. If I'm trying to get through a video in 5-10 minutes, scheduling in a guest for 80 different episodes, we'll probably never get through this. Or you'll just see way too much of one guest. So I'm a little bit unsure about it at this point. I don't feel like I need a guest personally, but I'm also not opposed to it. As of right now, I cranked through the beginner bracket by myself, and I had a ton of fun, even though I was alone. So we'll see, maybe as I go on through these, I'll start bringing on some guests for some of the higher brackets. We'll see. Let's just leave it at that. Smiling Gal asks, will you just ride the coasters, or will you look around at what we created? Because, like, we might have little Easter eggs in there. Well, hopefully I don't. If you mention your Easter egg in your description, I will try to remember to look for it, but I have a lot of things going on in my mind, what I want to say about the creation and all these comparisons, kind of like the last question. I'm firing away at all these things, and I have a lot going on in my mind that I might forget about the Easter eggs, but I'll definitely keep an open mind for what people ask for in their descriptions, and I do look around at all the creations, depending on how much there is to look at. The more you make, the longer I spend on your creation. You had 2 months, so I'm not going to spend 5 minutes looking at what you did in 2 months unless you didn't do much. Katarina Kitty Cat asks, when can we expect the first episode? Hopefully that would be tomorrow. And actually, Katarina Kitty Cat, you are the first episode of the contest, and my apologies in advance. I mispronounced your name. I was calling you Katrina Kitty Cat, but it looks like it is Katarina. I have a little bit of a dyslexic issue sometimes. I read things and combined words in my mind, but there you go. I will double check on Discord to see if there's any more questions. Can we be promoted in with this contest? Bob Poe asks. Absolutely. And that's it. So just to reiterate, guys, I will be hopefully releasing 2 videos a day for the entirety of these videos. We have 80 of them, so we expect it to run between 30 to 40 days at 2 a day, and I'm hoping to release them every 12 hours. That way, everyone, whether you're in Europe, wherever you are in the world, there's going to be a video in your morning and also your evening. So the 12-hour cycle is going to be really good because it keeps the videos rolling out every 12 hours. So there'll be something to look forward to whenever you wake up. You might have 1 video, you might have 2 videos, you might have 3 if you haven't checked in a while, but they're just going to be churning out so long. That's the plan, so long as I can keep up this work ethic. But I mean, it's a crazy amount of work, and to blast through 14 videos in just mere 6 or 7 days, I have to keep that momentum up. In order to get all these done in a timely manner, I have to work really, really hard and really, really efficient. So hopefully we keep up with the 12-hour cycle, but that is the plan for week 1. The videos are going up. There'll be 2 a day for the next 6-7 days, and then we'll be moving into the next bracket. Hopefully I can get the next bracket done within the next 6 or 7 days, and so on and so forth. All right, so this video turned out to be a lot longer than expected, but that pretty much answers everything that I can think of. If there's anything that I missed or any questions that you have, feel free to leave them down in the comments below in the YouTube comments, and I will answer them one by one manually. So there you guys go. Hope you are excited about the contest marathon, and as excited as I am, it's been a ton of fun. I'm looking forward to all the submissions, and everybody did an amazing job participating. So good luck to everyone in the contest. Good luck to all the people in their own brackets, and we'll see you all in the next video. Bye now.